So I was sitting underneath the Janus tree with a stone that I'd found down in Dana Point, and it was packed to the Hippie Hill or whatever area, and I'd never been to San Francisco before, and I was like, watch, here in a few minutes, half that hill's going down here puffing bowls and passing beers, and I opened my eyes up, and sure enough, first thing I saw was Tommy Decker, and he said, here, you drink, and he handed me a 40 ounce. And next thing I know, like seriously, like half the hill was down there and I wasn't alone anymore. And then I kind of just fell in love with the place. Like even back then, even the people that lived in the houses were really polite to the homeless people. Like they had empathy and understanding. Like they still treated us like humans. It's not like it is now. Now like we're pariahs. But back then they really had a lot of empathy for us. But I think the difference is too, back then we had a sense of community for each other. We looked out for each other back then too. I think they see us treating each other like savages, and therefore they view us like savages now.
Do you think the drug game has changed a lot from back then to now?
Oh, definitely. The legalization of marijuana put me out of a job, first of all. Because that was another great thing about Golden Gate. If there's like I could make money selling weed and what have you, and the whole war on drugs is like it has nothing to do with class or nothing to do with public health. The war on drugs is like what's caused this country to get to the point it is at now. Like the ruination of the families, the privately funded prison system. Don't get me started on CPS, government sanctioned child trafficking, basically. And putting children in institutions like CYA. I saw my friends go to CYA. They did not come back rehabilitated. They came back more hardened criminals. There's nothing good about putting children in prison. Especially like you put a bunch of teenage boys together, they're gonna start fucking the little ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just true. They're gonna they're teenage boys. They're gonna stick their dick in anything they can get. And like the little ones are gonna end up taking the worst of it. And I've had friends that have come out of there, like either more hardened criminals or having something to prove. You know what I mean? I got a friend right now, or used to be my friend now. He's a serial killer. He's fixing to do life. For fucking 9 shootings or whatever that they caught him for, and shooting at police or whatever. And like when he went 9 years old, when he went to YA, he wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? He was just a little boy. He was, he was raised on the streets, so he knew the street game, but he didn't have nothing to prove back then. He'd already earned his stripes, and he came out and thinking that he had to prove something. And so I know that something bad happened to him in there. I had another friend that hung himself in there because he was being, and and I've never seen it rehabilitate a single individual, Where's it going? Oh yeah. So I've been in San Francisco since 2001. That day underneath the Janus tree, 2001. I instantly, like I said, fell in love with San Francisco. And the first time I was told I had a warrant and was allowed to walk away from the police, I was in. Because that don't happen in Kern County. Taft, you go to jail for your eyes being dilated. Here you can use on the streets or whatever. Lily, stop, mommy. I found my fresh soulmate here. I've been with him 19 years. Lily. I've been with my man 19 years, and I really think that I thank God for him every day, because if it wasn't for him, I would probably be one of these women with no shoes on, talking to myself on the street corner, shitting and pissing myself so I wouldn't get raped. He's been my saving grace, and everything. We have a son together. In 2010, we gave birth to our son. After we hustled ourselves up into an apartment and everything, we were doing pretty good financially back then. The drug game, we were selling a 1/4 pound of speed and heroin every morning, at least. And that's not talking about, not even including the weed and mushrooms and everything else we were selling. I was a one-stop shop. I had everything but pussy for sale. But when our son was born, we had to choose between staying and hustling or keeping our kid. And we chose that, if anyone's going to fuck my kid up, it's going to be me. I'm not going to let the state do it, because they're guaranteed to do it. With me, he's at least got a 50-50 shot, And so we did what we had to do to keep him. And we had a place until 2015, when my son was about 8 years old, or 6 years old. he was 8 though. Anyways, he was 8 when we sent him to grandma's. 2015 we lost our place because I'd lived on the streets for so long. I don't really know how to take care of a house properly. You know what I mean? On the streets you forage and gather to survive. You know, but in the house you don't have DPW coming and cleaning you out. You know, and that affects you also too. Always having your stuff taken like by DPW and stuff like that. It makes it to where like you see the people with all their stuff gathered up, like a whole bunch of trash pile they're sitting in. The reason those people are like that is because everything that they've ever cared about has been taken from them. Like we have no right to property, you know. It's like the DPW people will target you, and if they see you've got nice things, they will literally like target you. I've had them remove my notes off my card and take stuff from me. When I'm following their protocol on to keep them from doing that, they're supposed to bag and tag it. A cop even went out of his way to try to chase the lady down, taking my shit so I could get some of it back. You know, like 'cause she was still in the wrong. Trying to get a lawsuit going against them even at this moment for some of the shit that they've done. But that affects you. You know what I mean? When everything you care about is always being taken from you. When like you can't sleep, you know, because someone's gonna steal all your shit by the time you wake up. You know, like I challenge anybody who is inside to spend a week on the streets. And you know, don't before you make your judgment about anybody. You know what I mean? Spend a week out here, and I guarantee you'll pick up at least a bottle or something to drink on. You know, because the 3rd or 4th time you wake up with nothing, or you got to fight off the freaking, you know, the random home bum that's screaming at you for no reason. You know, you're gonna be affected by it. If you can live out here for 2 weeks and not pick something up, then you need some sort of, you know, saintly medal or something like that. You are a very incredible person, and I commend you. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but you know, it is what it is. I feel that if you're minding your own business and doing what you do and not hurting anybody to do it, it shouldn't be anyone else's business. You know. Like I said, it's talking about the war on drugs. It's essentially a war on class. Because if it wasn't that way, then why would they have these commercials with these drugs that have all this list of side effects that they're giving people? You know, it's not a public health thing at all. Because if they were worried about public health, they wouldn't be giving those things to the American public or trying to push those upon us. You know, it has to do with a class, you know, privately funded prisons. You know, the pyramid of capitalism, there has to be somebody on the bottom in order for people to sit on the top. You know. And like, I've been on the bottom for a long time, and I've managed to fucking keep my sanity somewhat. I mean, I guess that's a question of depends on who you're asking, whether or not I'm saying. But I think I somewhat have a little bit together, my faculties still, and I still try to what I do without creating any victims. Like I don't boost, I don't sell my body. Not that I haven't, you know what I'm saying, but I don't. You know what I mean? I don't break car windows or take packages off people's porches because I understand what it is to be hardworking, and you know, to have something that you've worked hard for taken like that is really fucked up. You know, so what I do is I beg, or like I said, I forage.
Hold on, let them